The field of 68 is down to the Sweet 16. Just 8 games this weekend, but there is still money to be made. Good morning and welcome to a very sweet edition of Beat the Bookie. I'm your host and resident degenerate PJ Clark. You've watched the show, you know the drill. A $100 bankroll to spread out amongst this weekend's board, and boy, do I love it. But before we dive into the Sweet 16, let's take a look back at the week that was. Chef Boyo V may want to stick to the food Instagram because the sports betting doesn't look too hot right now. Owen Valentine had a disastrous round of 32, losing $61.39, good for the biggest single-week loss of the semester. Now let's look at the leaderboard at large. Patty Gunn still riding high on his almost $50 win. A Beat the Bookie appearance seems like the ultimate coolant for the gang, as even Willie Betts himself made a profit, just barely. I'm here to change that though. We sleep in May, we bet in March. Let's get into it. Perhaps the most unlikely matchup left in the tournament. The 8 seed Loyola Chicago taking on the 12 seed Oregon State Beavers. Everyone has heard about the Ramblers by now. A huge win over Illinois last weekend, and of course Sister Jean was there to see it. That win was on a Sunday. They're playing on Saturday this week, so you can talk about Sister Jean, her pregame prayers, and her divine intervention all you want. But the Oregon State Beavers are the hottest team in America and deserve to be treated as such. They're 12-1 against the spread in their last 13 games. The line of 6.5 is disrespectful to a team playing its best basketball of the year. Give me the points. Oregon State plus 6.5 for $10. Next game on the docket tips off at 5:15. The 1 seed Baylor against 5 seed Villanova. Baylor made quick work of Wisconsin last Sunday and looks to be back in peak form after a COVID pause slightly derailed their season. It's the first time that Nova's been an underdog all year, but let's look at how they got here. They beat Winthrop 124 in adjusted offense and North Texas at 100. We're not dealing with mid-majors anymore, guys. This is the Baylor Bears we're talking about. And for the record, they're third in adjusted offense. I'll buy the half point. Show me Baylor -7 for $10. Oral Roberts, men's basketball, now verified on Twitter, and they're still dancing too. The second ever 15 seed to reach the second weekend takes on 3 seed Arkansas tonight. To me, this one's pretty simple. It's a rematch as the two faced off on December 20th. That was an 87-76 win for the Razorbacks. But the key, Oral Roberts superstar point guard and the nation's leading scorer Max Abmas had a down night, scoring only 11 points. The Golden Eagles are playing better basketball now than they were at 3-6 in December. The best scorer in the country won't put up a stinker again, and they already pushed today's 11-point spread in that December game anyway. They're hot. Abmas is hot. Give me a 10 spot on the plus 11 and get me $5 on the money line too. Why not? Stranger things have happened. Cuse and March, Cuse and March, Cuse and March. It's all anybody wants to talk about in Central New York these days. I'll give them credit where credit's due. Syracuse has been the most dangerous double-digit seed in recent memory. Buddy Boeheim has put the orange on his back with 55 points in Cuse's 2 wins so far. I don't know if Syracuse wins this game, and I'm definitely not confident enough to bet it. But I do know this line of 6.5 is probably 2 points too high, especially with Houston being banged up. $10 on plus 6.5, although I have a feeling that may be against my better judgment. Sunday's foursome of games begins with the biggest spread of the week, a 13.5-point affair between Gonzaga and Creighton. The Creighton Blue Jays got trounced by Georgetown in the Big East title game, squeaked by UC Santa Barbara in round 1, but recovered to take care of business against Ohio in round 2. Now they find themselves playing the role of David against possibly the most formidable Gonzaga Goliath ever. Gonzaga's 14-12-2 against the spread because they deal with these huge numbers all the time. They barely covered against Oklahoma, but I'd be a fool to bet against them. I'm buying the half again to get rid of the hook, 10 on Zags -13. We've reached the last 1 seed as Michigan takes on 4 seed Florida State on Sunday evening. Florida State coach Leonard Hamilton hasn't been able to get over the hump often, just 1 Elite 8 in his 11 prior tournament appearances, but I think the toughness of this Seminole team will be enough to get him there in the 12th. That 1 Elite 8, by the way, a 2018 loss to Michigan. Revenge is a dish best served cold, and the best bet in this game is to take the Noles. They're only plus 115 on the money line, so while I do think they win outright, the value play, take the 2 points, forgo that extra $2 or so on my $10 wager. Hey, do you think Alabama could be the second school ever to win a title in football and basketball in the same year? Does the fact that I led with that question tell you where I'm going in this game? The Tide take on 11 seed UCLA on Sunday night in what I think is going to be an absolute rout. UCLA is coached by Mick Cronin, the man who's literally known for tournament incompetence at Cincinnati. His first appearance with UCLA here. Bama plays the math. They've attempted the most three-pointers this season by over 100, and to me, they're the second best team left in this thing. It sucks that they'll have to get by Gonzaga to get a shot at glory, but roll Tide and the Tide will roll. Lock it up on Bama minus 6.5. $15, my biggest wager of the week. The finale of the Sweet 16, sure to be a doozy. Two Pac-12 teams squaring off for a chance to lose to Gonzaga. Who doesn't love that? I love both these teams, and the St. John's homer in me would love to see former Johnny and current Oregon Duck LJ Figueroa stay hot. He scored 21 against Iowa, but this game feels like a toss-up. In the one meeting this season, the Trojans won by 14 and had the game in hand the whole way. A lot has changed since February 22nd, but I'm not putting too much stock into that result. They both dominated their last game. Oregon took out Iowa after advancing on the VCU forfeit, and USC dismantled Kansas. I hated Iowa all year, so to me that Kansas win is a bigger deal. In a game that I think is going to be close between conference foes, I'm putting my money behind the best player on the floor, USC center Evan Mobley. That strategy worked for me against Kansas earlier in the week, so let's run it back. I don't want to deal with that 2-point spread, so just to be safe, juiced on the money line, minus 130, $10 for me. With only 8 games to pick from, I didn't want to double up on anything for the parlay, so let's do some player props. First, I just mentioned him, Evan Mobley. Luka Garza had 36 on 14 of 20 from the field against Oregon on Monday. I expect Evan Mobley to take advantage of the weak Oregon interior just like Garza did. Over 16.5 points for Mobley at minus 114. Buddy Boeheim, I mentioned him earlier, needs to shoot the lights out if Syracuse is going to cover 6.5. His over-under for made three-pointers is just 3.5, a number he's cleared easily in the 2 wins. We're thrilled to take that over at minus 108 for some value on the parlay. And lastly, if Oral Roberts is going to keep going and keep this close, or even, God forbid, win, Kevin O'Banner has to keep taking threes. He's taken 19 in their 2 wins so far. This is a juice line, but it's in a parlay, so it's not going to kill us. Kevin O'Banner over 1.5 three-pointers made at minus 167. $10 on that parlay, going to net us $47.80. I can already feel Patty Gunn shaking in his boots. So let's run through the card one last time. $10 on Oregon State plus 6.5. I really do love that game. 10 on Baylor minus 7. Buy the half point there. 10 on Oral Roberts plus 11, and we'll sprinkle 5 on that money line at plus 420 as well. 6.5 point spread, 10 on Cuse against Houston. Probably a bad idea, but we'll go with it anyway. Buying another half point, 10 on Gonzaga minus 13, 10 on Florida State to get revenge. I'm taking them plus 2. If I had to pick a lock, $15 on Bama minus 6.5, roll Tide. And the only solo money line, USC to win outright at minus 130, $10 on that. Lastly, the player prop parlay, 10 to win almost 48 if we go 3 for 3. That's going to do it on the Sweet 16 edition of Beat the Bookie. We're hitting every game this week, folks. Let's have some fun out there. We've only got 15 of these left, so for the crew here, I'm PJ Clark. Enjoy the games and happy gambling.